I'm somebody who always wants to know how to grow like my garden is growing. I want to grow in skill, but I don't always get it right. The problem is I don't always know when I'm not getting it right. So today I have invited a fruit tree expert to come and tell me what I'm doing wrong. That's why I've invited Tom Spellman, fruit tree enthusiast. And Tom is gonna roast my orchard. Let's get busy.
So Cameron, I know you did some traveling here this summer. I know you were away from your property for longer than you were comfortable with. So what I'd like to do is take you through and show you some of the things that I see as an issue that I think need to be corrected right away. Are you good with that?
Now, Tom, are you telling me that you don't think that my orchard was done perfectly and maintained perfectly?
Let's just say there is no such thing as perfection. And you know, you could come to my orchard and probably find issues as well. Let's just take a look at what we've got going on.
What the fruit is going to be too big or too tasty or what?
All right, let's take a look.
Okay, come on.
So Cameron, Pink Lady Apple.
Yeah.
One of my absolute favorites. It's been a great variety for high chill areas, low chill areas. It's very productive. It's self-fruitful, but of course does better, like we've talked about with a pollinizer. Has a little bit of susceptibility to fire blight. And it also has a phenomenon that we call rogue summer bloom. So while you were gone this summer, you had some rogue bloom on here. And at that time, you had some active fire blight in the neighborhood and you had a little bit of it move into this tree. So what we want to do now is we want to go back through and look for the areas where fire blight has shown up. And you can see fire blight, the way that it reacts, it comes in a flower. So a bee comes in with fire blight from another tree, works on that flower, pollinates that flower, and spreads the fire blight into your tree. Now, it's very, very minimal. It's not advanced much at all. So you have plenty of opportunity to come through now and get this removed before it goes any further down into the system. But you want to do that now before this tree goes completely dormant or before you can't really determine whether it's actually there. So when you do your winter pruning, and I would do it sooner than later on this tree, get all of these blight strikes cut out, get yourself a little spray bottle or a container with some 50-50 household chlorine bleach and water, and dip your clippers in between the cuts, because you can mechanically move it around.
So like it's a pathogen, so it'll get on the blade and then wherever you make the cut. So
if I cut fire blight out and don't go below the blight itself, and I go to a clean branch, I can reinfect that clean branch.
And then that'll start a whole nother vector for that.
Exactly.
Well, so hold on now. So Tom, this isn't really me neglecting it, it's the bees' fault.
It's the bees' fault. But you know what? Without the bees, you wouldn't have this nice fruit on here.
Okay, fair enough.
So, you know, you gotta let them in, you gotta let them do their work, and just understand that, you know, fire blight is gonna translocate in two methods. Number one, you can mechanically transmit it with clippers, infected pruning tools. And it's also gonna move by bee activity. So, you can keep your clippers clean. You're not really gonna be able to control the bees. So just watch it. Watch that rogue summer bloom. When you see that, it's a good idea just to get it cut out. I don't want fruit to set in August on my Pink Lady. It's never gonna have an opportunity to ripen. Get those rogue blooms off the tree as soon as you see them. Get the fire blight cut out with disinfected clippers, and you'll be good to go for next season.
Okay, that's not too bad a roast. I can live with that. All right.
Yeah, that's easy.
Let's go on to the next one. All right.
This is what I'm going to charge you right here. So Cameron, first of all, love the chickens.
Yeah.
They're awesome. I don't see a snail, I don't see a sow bug or an earwig. I mean, these guys are on patrol and doing a great job. Let's take a look at this mini royal cherry. Now, this isn't damage that happened last summer. This is some older damage, but this is sunburn. So you can see where it just totally annihilated that bark and damaged right down to the cambium layer underneath that bark. So this is something where I don't know that you'll have any further damage from that, because now the canopy of the tree has developed fairly well and it's going to be self-shading during the spring and summer when it has foliage on it. But I would still think it would be a good idea to do a little bit of a cleanup on that. There's a couple other spots up here in the canopy that show it, and get some whitewash on there. Just get it protected, get it cleaned up so that, you know, you're not going to have any further infiltration of any insects, or, you know, that would be an entry point for borers, or
even some extra weathering would be would be prevented.
You're going to protect against that. So
do you know any good whitewashes?
well, I've heard that there's a couple of products out there. One that I've heard of is IV Organics.
Where can you find IV Organics around here?
I don't know. Maybe we're going to have to go look for it.
I was too many trees away, but I'm here.
Hey, Charles.
How are you, Tom?
Good. How
Hey,
you doing?
Charles.
So, IV Organics is an all organic way of whitewashing your trees. It's OMRI certified for the commercial organic orchard, and basically trumps the traditional use of using latex or tar-based products, which trap moisture and can contribute to underlying harm of that exposed wood, whereas this is a porous resulting product with the IV Organics all-in-one, 3-in-1 plant guard from damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents. I'll leave you guys with this, and you guys can take care of this poor cherry tree.
Nice, thanks, Charles.
That's
You're
great.
welcome.
You got that cleaned up pretty good. So, you know, just get in there and get some whitewash on that, and get over this cut and this other damage on this branch right here.
This is nice. This grayish actually doesn't have to be white. It matches the tree color a little bit better. Kind of a grayish. I'm gonna put.
I've been using that one on my citrus and avocados, and it matches into the branch structure really well.
It blends in.
Yeah, so we're just cleaning off a little bit of that dead bark and opening it up so that when you put the whitewash on, you're going to get exposure, you're going to get coverage without having a lot of this peel off later. We're going to protect it from any future sunburn, going to prevent, you know, any intrusion from insect or bacteria or disease damage. So just keeping the tree safe and healthy.
Yeah, that does the job without advertising itself too much.
Yep.
Before we go to the avocado, let's just note that this wasn't really my fault. It was the sun's fault.
It was the sun's fault, and it's you know, like I said, this wasn't damage that was recent. This was damage from a couple of years ago. So, you know, we're just kind of picking up the pieces now and doing everything we can do to keep the trees as healthy as possible.
See, not much to roast, really, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at.
Give me a chance.
Hey, Tom, you know, I actually wrote an ebook called 9 Things I Wish I Knew About Gardening before I started my backyard garden.
Okay.
And so I think you should download that and read it.
Maybe it's kind of a shame that you didn't wait until after our visit today.
Okay, you have a point. I'll leave it up to the people who buy it and read it to see if what you suggest should have been in that book. What do you think?
It's all good information. So Cameron, this one to me is a little bit more concerning, but I think this tree is still at a point where it's easily recoverable. So this is a Hass avocado. It's been in the ground, what, 4 years?
Yeah, maybe so, 4 or 5 years.
So this was damage that was done this summer while you were on your trip, and it's just sunburn damage, sun scald damage, physical stress that was caused by the heat of the summer. And we had an exceptionally warm summer, especially September and even into October.
Yeah.
So what we want to do now, there's still a lot of perfectly healthy, you know, tips on it. You've got a little bit of burn on the foliage from the salinity, from the salt buildup in the soil. But what I'm really concerned with is the dead and dying branches. So we want to come in and get that pruned out. You know, if I make that cut right there, I've still got some viable buds that are already protruding right behind it. So it's not something where you're in danger of losing this tree yet. So now we can get all this dead wood out, get the tree cleaned up a little bit, make it look a little nicer.
When it comes to pruning these avocados, in general, what do you're not looking for the open center like you are with these other deciduous things.
No.
You want it to be kind of full and bushy.
Exactly. You want avocados to have a nice, dense, thick canopy, and that way they shade that inner structure, they shade the trunk, and that keeps the tree healthier. So, but anytime you see deadwood, get it out. There's no reason to have deadwood in a tree. Deadwood isn't going to do anything good for you. So we just want to come through and make a few cuts and get that dead wood cleaned up and out. And then we would come through and get this structure whitewashed after that so that you can prevent against any further damage.
What about things like this? Well, before you cut it, let's bring the camera in close so we can see. So here's where there was some live, but this bark here is totally in this, the wood is totally shriveled. So this
Right.
is showing us that this is dead material.
Right.
It should be cut off where near the collar here.
Well, actually, I would come right in just to where the dead material stops.
Huh.
I don't think you need to go any deeper than that. But you know, you can see what we're taking out. It's all wood that isn't going to have any viability. Even this wood that shows a little green underneath has some pretty severe sunburn on top. So we're going to get that out now before it carries any further. The one thing I always like to emphasize when you're pruning a tree, doing work on a tree, this is not a project where you have to feel pressured by it. I don't have to feel like I've done everything I'm ever going to do today. I know I'm going to have opportunity to come back and work on this tree again. So if I miss a little bit, if I don't open it up the way that I wanted to, if I made a cut that I really didn't like, I'm going to get growth back from that point. If I have a branch that I think, well, you know what, this branch isn't really balanced to the structure of the tree, but it has fruit on it or it has a lot of fruiting potential for the next year, I may choose to leave that in, get another fruit harvest off it, come back and take it out later. So a fruit tree, to me, is like an artist's canvas that will never be signed. You're never going to walk away from it and say, I'm done, I don't have to do anything else to it ever. That's not going to happen. So you never have to feel pressured that you don't have an opportunity to come back and do corrective work again.
You've got options.
Absolutely, all the time. I think that gets most of the dead wood out. Maybe there's a few little pieces in there and you may get a little bit more that'll show up.
Maybe like this guy here.
Show up later, and that's fine. You know, like I said, you can come back in and do some more work on it later. The main thing is to get this exposed structure protected from future sunburn, and then let that next canopy flush come out, and it will be self-shading after that.
Something that we've done if we haven't had an opportunity to whitewash it is we have some shade cloth that in a pinch on the hottest days, if we know, like call a neighbor, hey, go throw some sort of shade on there to buy us a little bit of time. I know that seems to, at least when I've done bird netting or shade cloth on my trees, if it gets left on there, it kind of deforms the branches.
Yeah.
But for just a quick immediate emergency measure, I've used all my whitewash on that other tree over there.
So I like the way that you worded that, an emergency measure. So if it was, it's been 85 degrees, 90 degrees, 92 degrees, and all of a sudden it's going to be 105.
Which happens.
And you're not there. Yeah, just throw a piece of shade cloth over it, do a supplemental irrigation on it, and you're going to be covered for that particular weather stress event. But after that, you want to come back in and you want to get the job done right.
Well, that's not too bad.
No, it's not too bad. It's just a matter of, you know, taking a look at these things, being aware of these things, and getting the protection on before it, you know, really gets to this point. But like I said, I think you can absolutely save this tree. You'll get another nice flush of growth on it. It'll become self-shading at that point, and you won't have the extremes to worry about going forward.
Okay, this has been super helpful, Tom. I'm glad to know that the worst things are mainly things that can be prevented.
Absolutely.
Paying attention to those things, that the stuff's planted in an okay place, but we want to get in front of those things that can cause us a problem. Taking care of whitewashing, keeping an eye out for blight. I want to encourage you watchers to go check out Ivy Organics, check out Tom's channel. He's got a YouTube channel as well, super helpful. And actually, if you don't already know this, Tom is, and the videos he's done with Dave Wilson Nursery are those that got me started in this entire thing. So it's just super cool to share that with you. So definitely check him out, give him a like and subscribe on his channel as well. And hey, whether you've got one thing to preventing in your orchard or garden or 500, until next time, stay busy.